and welcome to Possibilities. I'm your host, Jodi Tummers.
And I'm your co-host, Amanda Sharinga.
And if you're looking for a daily and Amanda show, this is formerly the daily and Amanda show.
We now have a new name.
Yeah.
Did you want to explain that a little bit, Danny?
Yeah, we're actually gonna rename the show Possibilities because, let's face it, if you say the Danny and Amanda show, it doesn't sound really interesting, does it?
Well, I think the show Possibilities has, well, possibilities.
So the reason why we changed it is we want to convey that we all have possibilities and we all show them in a certain way.
That's right.
So, do we want to share what we've been doing when we're not doing camera on camera? Why we've been away so long?
Well, I think we should. I think our audience might want to know what's been going on behind the
Yeah.
scenes.
So, you want to explain or so?
Well, I'll let you.
Okay. So, when was it, like, in
I think January.
January?
Yeah.
Shortly after you took permanent seat at
On the show.
co-host,
Mm-hmm.
yes, we decided to branch out and see what other avenues that we can bring
Mm-hmm.
to what other avenues you can hear us on, because let's face it, YouTube is not really
YouTube isn't as popular as it used to be.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going by the wayside. Well, not really by the wayside, but
Yeah. We don't reach all the viewers we're hoping to reach.
so what we did was we sort of went on a bit of an adventure and got into broadcasting the Possibilities show on the radio. And how do you think that went during our investigation, Amanda?
I think it went really well. I enjoyed learning so much about the radio and about different broadcasting, different air rules. I think it's really transformed the show, helped us learn more about ourselves, learn more about what we want to bring to the show and how we want to present the show. What do you think, Danny?
And yeah, I think it does bring us really full circle.
Yeah.
More or less. So, but the reason why we're back here, should we share the reason or not?
Well, we just decided not to go with the radio at this time, and we're gonna work on building up our YouTube audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, when was our last YouTube show?
Oh gosh, I think that was probably back in February.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a while since you've seen us. You missed us?
Yeah. So, tonight's episode is one that I personally been wanting to bring you for a while, and if you've been watching for a few seasons, now you know that I brought you this story way back in the early part of season 2, but I decided to dig it out of the vault again because I think the guest that we have coming on tonight is really gonna bring a fresh new perspective to it, and Amanda wasn't here when in season 2.
No, I wasn't.
When I did it, so.
And tonight is a very special episode. It is our very first
in studio
interview.
Yeah.
We're pretty pumped about that.
Our first interview that you guys get to see.
Yep.
Right? Because you and I did some interviews while we were doing.
While we were venturing out our radio. Yep.
But our audience didn't get to see those. So
yep.
We decided to come back in the YouTube world and then see what happens later.
Yeah.
So, what is our topic tonight?
Well, our topic tonight is inclusive education.
And education in general.
Correct. Education, period.
Yeah, because our guest tonight is Jodi Tummers from right here in beautiful Muscovy, Ontario, Canada. So she's been on the EA spectrum of the school system since 1995.
That's a long time to be with the school board. How old were we? I was 5.
I was 1 year old, so.
Yeah? I think she's got some knowledge for us to share with you guys, and we're really looking forward to this.
And, that to be clear, not all what she said might be positive, and that's okay, isn't it?
Not everyone has a good experience, but we're not here to bash the school board.
No.
We're here to shed some light.
Yeah. So we're gonna bring everything full circle and see what comes out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not quite here yet. So what we're gonna do is take a commercial break and get ready for exciting interview with Jodi. So
That's
we'll
right.
be right back in a little bit. Stay tuned.
See you soon.
Welcome back to the show. We're joined in studio by Jodi Tummers. Welcome to the show, Jodi.
Thank you, Dan.
Yes, welcome.
And also, to start, we're gonna. How did you become an EAM? What made you decide on that specific career?
Well, when I was a kid, I had a desire to help people. And I always liked working or meeting people with special needs.
Yeah.
And for a while, I wanted to be an occupational therapist. And then I had some stuff happen in high school that made my grades go down the toilet. And that was the end of that dream.
Yeah.
And so then I just applied to a bunch of colleges and universities, and I was going to do child and youth worker. And I also applied to DSW, developmental services worker, and that's what I got into. And I aced it. It was the best grades I ever had in my life. And I was really lucky in my my third placement of college. I was at Robards. Do you know where that school is? A school for the deaf in London.
No.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So I went there, and while I was there, I met this cool kid who was going to be integrated into the Catholic school board. And so they told me, you should apply for the job. And so I did. And I got it. And the rest is history. By the way, that was not 1977. It was 1995.
She's teasing me because I messed up my
Your math?
my promo this morning.
Oh,
I think I looked
dear.
really good for that
Oh, that's wonderful.
So, yeah, carry on.
What's your favorite part of being an EA?
I love helping kids,
Yeah.
especially kids who other people don't always want to give them a chance.
Yeah.
So I like to help
Yeah.
those kids find their way into being part of their classroom
And
or part of their school.
this topic will come up a lot tonight, but to start off, why do you think that is? Why don't you want, why doesn't people give disability a chance?
I think,
In your opinion.
in my opinion, so I see my own children who go to school here in this area, and I see the difference in this kids in my school. So my school board has had kids in full integration since about 1997. They've no self-contained classrooms in elementary school. So by self-contained, I mean like the kids are mostly in one classroom all day long, and then they go to art or they go to gym. But in my school board, that finished in 1997. That's a long time ago. And so I think that helps. That kid, if right from JK, your classmates see you every day doing whatever you're doing, they get to cheer you on, and I think that really helps. And so why do I think it doesn't happen? Because integration doesn't happen when kids are at an age where they'll accept anybody, where they're open-hearted and open-minded. Does that make sense?
It's not the social norm.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting concept.
Why do you think people are afraid to embrace the social norm? I don't know if you said.
I think it's fear, and fear of it's the unknown, and they don't feel confident of themselves. They don't, and they're not sure, like they're, because for so long. So for my generation, kids were in, even kids with just learning disabilities were in a different classroom or a different school. Yeah. So it's part of, the more we integrate, the more children will accept, and then as they grow up, then those children become adults.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I am so I don't want to sound negative here, but I am so frustrated with the Avon Maitland different school board because they think they should go full inclusion and not every child can work in a
That's right.
In a normal classroom.
Right.
So what's your opinion of that?
I think for elementary, full inclusion, almost full inclusion is a good idea. And I don't mean that a student necessarily would be like 80% integrated and 20% not. I more mean that there are some kids who really struggle to get much out of an integrated setting and whose classmates struggle to know how to integrate. And I'm in a situation like that right now, and I can't talk too much more about it without breaching confidentiality. But the student I work with is not, he can't communicate, and he's just at a totally different level than his grade 8 peers. And so I see that situation as maybe not where we could do more life skills, especially at that age. But for the most part, I think if we integrate really young, then as you get older, when it's time to do life skills, then those classmates who are in the regular program and have regular expectations and all of those things, they can come along and be peer mentors and guide. And then when you get to high school, it becomes really important for those life skills to happen. And I think buddy program, I talked about that on your post about buddy programs, and where that's where integration works better for high school age kids.
Yeah, because they don't really, they don't necessarily get integrated with the normal kids. However, they do get the normal kid experience.
Right.
With the buddy program. So, would you mind sharing a bit more on how that works?
Sure. I don't work in a high school. I never have. So I can only go on what I know happens in the school board that I work in. And so in our school board in high school, it actually is very different. It's probably what used to happen here, in that we have a program called Community Pathways. And those students in that program, they range in all kinds of different levels of development and physical abilities, and they are centered in one classroom, and then they go out to do different programs. Sometimes they might do gym or art, but they'll do programs in the community, and they'll do work experience, and they'll learn life skills. And then there is periods of the day, I think it's a course that the other kids take, but I'm not sure. Like maybe it's I don't know, like I actually don't really know. Like I want to say civics, but that seems like the wrong name. But that those kids, that would be part of what that they come to that class, and they're buddied up, and they do experience together. And sometimes it's an extracurricular activity that they choose. So they want to be there. It's not like integration is forced on them, if that makes sense. It sounds a little harsh, but
why do you think that would be an interesting course to do?
probably because it's something that interests them for their life, right? So like they want to be an EA, or they want to work. Maybe they want to be a doctor, a pediatric doctor, and they know that some of their kids eventually will be kids with special needs. Or maybe it's that these kids start being friends in JK and they move all the way through and they have that love in their heart, right? And so then they want to continue to help out.
Yeah, that I completely agree. I think that's a really good system because we grow up with each other and we learn more about each other, and you might want to spend that time with them when normally maybe you wouldn't, and this gives other kids an opportunity to integrate.
For sure.
Switching gears, what kind of changes do you want to see going forward with inclusive education?
I would like to see there be no black and white. It's not a set rule. There has to be some gray areas. Some kids don't fit. There's not a mold. Every kid doesn't fit the same mold. So I think that students like the one I spoke about earlier, like it would be better for there to be some self-contained classroom setting or more hands-on life skills kind of ideas. But then for other students, I think being in an integrated setting is very good for their growth and very good for their friends, for their peers to grow. So I would really like to see in high school program especially the life skills programs brought back, because I think it's so important. It's important for students and it's important for families.
Speaking from my experience now, I do believe that the life skills is still operational right now, but I do believe that they are slowly getting out of it here in the Avon Maitland District School Board, and I don't think that is right, because what if someone really needs those skills and can't get them? What then?
I agree. I can think of some individuals, adults that I know that live here in this community, that if they hadn't learned those skills in high school, they wouldn't be living on their own in some of the apartment buildings that I visited them in. Like, they have to learn those skills somewhere. Their parents don't necessarily always have the time to teach them all those skills, or the patience. I'm a mom. I don't have the patience to teach my kids everything.
I think life skills are something that should be taught to all
Exactly.
kids. Like, high school did not teach me how to pay my bills, how to be a responsible adult.
Exactly.
It tries to teach you how to be on time and be responsible, but they
And I
don't
think-
teach you why it's important.
I think the locally developed courses are teaching some of those practical math skills and things like that. But I don't know that for a fact, but I suspect that. But yes, it's missing it's missing across the board in the curriculum, teaching people how to be independent.
Like, I don't want to sound rude here, but I do think integration has to stop somewhere. It can't just be like, okay, you're integrated into this classroom, let's see what you can do.
Exactly.
It has to be a balance. And
For sure.
And the Avon Maitland board isn't really getting the whole picture of what they're trying to accomplish. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you know about like the government mandates, but there's a document called Education for All, and that's where the desegregation, I don't know, that's not the word I'm looking for, but decommissioning of the segregated classrooms. That's why that came about, is because the government has said this is what should happen, but they don't have the plan in place to how to make it happen, and they're not providing enough funding to make sure that there's staff there to make integration successful. So if you wanted to go to a grade 10 academic math course, you might be able to do it, but you would need to have someone there to help you do the right. But if they aren't providing a one-to-one EA for you, then it's going to set you up for failure, not for success.
Yeah. Now, there's been some talk about EAs such as yourself, about them going by the wayside. Is there any truth to that statement, do you think?
About EAs being taken out of schools, is that what you mean? I've heard nothing, which is good. I got 12 years to retirement, so that needs to not happen.
We mean in the sense that you're kind of being replaced with technology, that, you know, here we'll give a child a tablet.
Oh, I see that already, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that technology has its place, as you can totally appreciate.
Yep.
And there's a lot of things that you have been able to do that my generation could never have done, and that's really cool, but it can't replace the human hands and the human heart. So I think that technology is being used appropriately in a lot of cases, but you're right, there's a lot of tablet babysitters that are happening in schools.
Can you give us an example of something that an EA can do but a tablet can't?
How about a hug? That's kind of a joke, but all of the physical things. I mean, a tablet can't help you do anything physical that you need to do, but it also can't think for you. So I can look at your face and you're struggling to come up with a word, and I can give you some suggestions. A tablet can't do that.
No.
And I know you if I'm your EA, and so I learn those things about you where the gaps might be, and you might need a little extra help, but there's no electronic device that's ever going to learn, a student as well as a person can.
Yeah. And in reality, I know this from dealing with home care. I don't know if this is the same way in the school system or not, but they say that you're not supposed to get attached to your clients, but it's impossible not to, isn't it?
For sure.
Yeah.
So I said earlier, my student's in grade 8, and I've been with them most of the time since grade 2, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to cry at graduation. And we've talked about it, what it's going to be like next year when he's not there, and there's so many things that will be different.
So do you think your student is ready for next year when he is going into high school or not?
My student's not a very good example because it's not going to matter too much for him. And he will be one of those students who will go in. I mean, if he was in the Avant board, I don't know what his programming would look like. Because from what I'm hearing from you and other parents, those classrooms where would be the best place for a student like my guy don't exist here. So I think he's going to be fine. I think he's ready to go because those programs still in the London area exist in both boards, whether it's the public board or the Catholic board. So I think he's good. My other students that I work with, I'm not sure. They're more academic students who need a lot of support. They're all going to be heading to locally developed classes, and I don't think they're going to get enough support to keep them on track.
No.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Absolutely not. So, what is the most rewarding part of going into what every day?
The most rewarding part, I think, is seeing my students learning and overcoming something. For my academic kids, it's doing the math. It's like learning to do something on their own, or just achieving a skill, that's appropriate for whatever math program they're doing. For my other student, watching him learn by watching me alone, he learned how to do an entire recycling program. Cool. Just by watching. It feels so good to know that there's skills that he's going to be able to come out of elementary school with and hopefully transfer into his life. He'll change the garbages for his mom. Not because he's a boy. Just kidding, dude.
Now there's been some talk about getting rid of friendship games. At least in the Avon District School Board. And I know one mother isn't really happy about it. So what's your opinion on that?
Well, it's interesting because in my school board, because we've been fully integrated for so many years, we don't have anything like the friendship games, and I don't know if we ever did. They do have, at our regular track meet, there's a Special Olympics category. So our board is pretty big, so there's like 5 days of track meets. So you have like different schools, depending on the size of your school or the geographic location. You'll go to this place in London, the big, like the University TD Waterhouse, that's where they do it. And every day there'll be some categories for the kids with special needs. And in the Special Olympics, that may not be what they call it. I'm not totally sure of the name. But we don't have a friendship game. So I see it as a catch-22 because I think it's great that the kids are going and competing the same day as the rest of their classmates. But at the same time, I see such a value in being able to meet together with other kids who also have special needs and have some of the same ways that they like to have fun, and to bring along some peers from their school to join in and buddy up. And I think it's happened too fast. I think that maybe moving to a model like what we do would be okay, but it's too much too soon. Like everything with this whole decommissioning, if that's the right word, of these programs, everything's happened too quickly, I think.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on the show today.
We've really enjoyed having you.
No problem, Dan. Anytime.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing your experience with us. It's been really enjoyable talking to you and getting your insight on different areas of education.
Well, thanks for having me.
So that's our show today. If you want to get in touch with Amanda and I, you can email us now at possibilitiesshow@gmail.com. steeves.com, and we'll answer your questions as fast as we can. Or if you want to have a story on the show, we can do that as well. So
That's right.
until next time, remember to keep the gift out of disability and take care. Bye for now.